This is sweetgrass. It's my favorite. Hey, it's Marin, and in this video I'm going to talk about what witchcraft is, what it's not, what it means to be a witch, how you can be a witch, and all the ins and outs of witchcraft in general. So if you're interested in that, you want to learn how to cast spells and hexes and shit, just kidding, not this video, maybe another time. Keep on watching. So I wanted to make this video because the things that I saw online just weren't really amusing to me. Like, I didn't think that they really encapsulated what witchcraft really is, and a lot of what I found people describing as witchcraft was really a symptom of already being a witch. Like, things like spells and sorcery and speaking things into existence, those aren't in and of themselves witchcraft, and I'll get into how that all works. Witchcraft is the use of your tools of consciousness to create in the physical. You're unlocking your own technology and working with your own energy instead of against it. A witch is anyone who uses their internal powers to manifest and bring thoughts into physical density. Things like crystals and candles and any kind of ritual can be really helpful to guide us and remind us how to work with our internal power, but they in and of themselves are not witchcraft. And side note, if you're already a witch and you're someone who's familiar with this and kind of the ins and outs of the powerful tools and potential of it, let me know how you became a witch down below. I'm interested to hear how everyone came to be on their journey, because it's not a normal 9 to 5. So any practice that connects you back into yourself, meditation or visualization or yoga, can actually be seen as a form of witchcraft, because that aligned vibration, that focus that you're putting in, has an easier time manifesting into literal events. On the other side, when our vibration is scattered and we're reaching or projecting or operating out of fear, we don't possess as much attention and precision to hit the bullseye of exactly the events that we want. To focus and fine-tune our vibration, which is simply our moving mode of existence, that is witchcraft. And to cast a spell, which could be spoken, written, or even physical, is a method of focusing energy. So for example, if I'm casting a spell to Goddess Lakshmi for abundance, that is my way of fixating onto a collective energy of abundance and attracting prosperity. And through that ritual, I am aligning within myself to attract the energy that can mirror back to me. So a lot of this is really similar to law of attraction teachings, kind of all one and the same. And you see how this energy was kept for so long and was persecuted, because it's powerful to know that you create in your mind and you're not a slave to struggling and working, that you can do this shit. All the tools are within. And with that, witchcraft is not demonic. It's not the work of the devil. It's not dark magic, though you can classify a certain kind of operatory mode as dark magic from one perspective, which if you want to know the difference between white magic and dark magic, let me know below. I could do a video on that. Witchcraft is simply another word for conscious manifestation. And with that, working alongside our innate technology is powerful co-creative beings. Any cultures or belief systems that have portrayed witches as negatively operating or being harmful are doing so to keep us away from that own internal power within us. Any equating of witches to the devil, or even to being woo-woo and weird and out there, is stupid and unfounded. It's just, many witches may not even consider themselves to be witches, because it's simply not a term they play around with in their paradigm of existence that they're familiar with. However, anyone that's consciously manipulating energy could be considered a witch in one way or another. And anyone who's focusing their mind and learning to play with their consciousness could be playing with what we deem as witchcraft. So with that all being said, how do I become a witch? Which, this might not be the answer that you're wanting to hear, because I'm not here going to give you any spells, any rituals, any new moon rituals, though if you do want any of those, I have several. So let me know below any type of magic or ritual that you would want to know, because I've been playing around for a little while now. But to become a witch, first and foremost, you stop running from yourself and your feelings, and you bask in whatever vibration you're at right now, which usually, if we're wanting to get on the path, isn't that great of one. Any spiritual path, any journey towards self-evolvement and growth starts here and now. So you can't consciously create until you become conscious of where you are in this moment. Numbing behaviors, which are totally different for each of us, and what one of us does consciously could be what another of us uses to numb out, don't get us down this path. They keep us drained of the internal reservoirs. How did that word appear in my mind but not in my lips correctly? They drain the internal reservoirs of our manifesting potential. And often facing this requires a dark night of the soul, which I have a theory, which is why witches dress kind of like dark and all, because we've been through the shit. But often the journey to evolving starts with a dark night of the soul, and getting really clear on how you're feeling is where all the internal pain that was once stifled is like rising to the surface and bubbling up. When I consciously began my spiritual journey in about 2017, which I say consciously because like we've all been on the path forever, but then the word comes into being and we're like, yeah, spiritual journey, that's what I'm on. In about 2017, when all this started for me, I entered a 2-year dark night of the soul. That pretty much kept me isolated, like without speaking to anyone for 2 years. Like literally during that time period, like you can't ask anyone that they were like hanging out with me. Like for 2 years, I was basically dealing with all the internalized internal shit that I had not been looking at for my whole life, if not lifetimes and millennia beforehand. So that sounds scary, and it's not meant to like scare you or make you fearful, but just being aware that often where we're starting, we can't bypass that. Like we have to be honest with the fact that we want to improve and we want to manifest this dream life, because right now we feel like shit. So by going within, and this doesn't mean a dark night of the soul for everyone. Like not everyone has to go through such extreme turmoil. Oh my god, was I not in focus this whole video? So as you go within, you begin to know yourself truly and where your power lies in certain abilities or traits. And with knowing yourself, you know what patterns your mind clings to. So like for example, this could be a belief in scarcity around money, or this might be a belief that you need a certain kind of partner to complete you. You'll also identify beneficial beliefs, like never doubting your ability to make an abundance of money or have supportive relationships around you. But either way, you have to be familiar with where you're starting and the consciousness and what you believe in right here and now. When pinpointing our current vibration, we can then decide how we want to change that momentum and where we want to head from now. If we realize that we have a scarcity mindset or a belief that it's difficult and that we always need to struggle to earn money, we may consciously affirm to ourselves, like, I attract abundance, until that is no longer something you have to convince yourself of. Like you firmly believe that, and you remind yourself every time that self-talk arises that isn't in that vibration. Little by little, momentum will adjust to the direction of your highest good, if that's the path you're choosing, which, you know, if you're a witch, hopefully you're choosing that path. Thoughts then manifest into density. Once enough momentum has gathered around that thought that you're trying to physicalize, it will then manifest. This is the basis of witchcraft. Manipulating internal energy currents to warrant an external result. Rituals, practices, ceremonies, they aren't the basis of witchcraft. They are supplemental tools to help us align and tap into our universal source energy. Because source energy resides within all of us, but sometimes external tools can help. I love new moon candle rituals to tune into the energy of new beginnings and cultivating new manifestation. Because with candles, it makes me think of like the fire of transformation and releasing the old in order to birth the new, and releasing my intentions into that larger collective whole. Do I need to do that to manifest? No, but it's fun. And I feel very aligned during those practices of spirituality, which I have decided work really well for me and myself in my witchcraft journey. My personal ceremonies are really important to me. And that's why certain supplemental tools, certain spell casting, certain mindfulness practices are a part of my daily life. So for me personally, my biggest involvement with witchcraft are new moon ceremonies, working with the moon in general, and candles. I also use divination and oracle cards, sometimes tarot, sometimes just other oracle decks. And because I'm an astrologer by profession, that's what I do, I often use planetary magic. If you want a video on astrological magic and planetary energy and playing with that in general, let me know below, comment that would be interesting to you. I'm definitely still a novice myself. There are people that have been working with planetary magic for decades, and just me in a few years. Like I'm not up to total speed, and a lot of the ceremonies are really intricate. I'm definitely a novice, but if you want kind of the foundational beginner understanding that I have of planetary magic and some of my own practices, let me know below. Just some ideas of easy practices to start with to cultivate a little ceremony that you can then use for your witchcraft. Lighting a candle for each new moon to release your intentions into the universe. Creating a vision board. Even though that's so like Pinterest, like that is witchcraft. Looking at something every day, reminding your consciousness that you're on that path, that's powerful. Cooking or brewing tea with the energy in mind of providing yourself with healing or specific sustenance, that is witchcraft. And there's a lot of like funky herbs you can get into that are really fun to play with, but start simple. And things like witchcraft books or magic guides are often really powerful because they have the collective momentum of everyone that has believed in that behind them as you are receiving that information. Every past witch that's had a tea ceremony or cast a specific spell, you're tapping into that consciousness of everyone that has put their belief and intention into that. So yeah, no, like I was saying, it's all within you, but some of these practices have so much momentum built up behind them because of the collective consciousnesses that are buying into this belief. With that being said, make sure that any kind of witchcraft you're practicing, even if you don't deem it witchcraft because that's not the kind of spirituality that necessarily resonates with you, make sure that you're relating it always back to your own internal power. The answers, the guidance, the manifesting potential is all within you. And if you're watching this, even if you're like a random person that randomly clicked on this and it's like, who is this idiotic bitch talking about witchcraft? Or just someone who is really interested with the idea but would never call themselves a witch out loud or dye their hair black, you're on the path to remembering. You don't have to believe it, but you're on the path to remembering that all these tools, all the magic, all the power is within you. And whether you use the word witch or not, we have the ability to wake up to our identity as conscious co-creators of the universe. And the fractals of endless source consciousness of pure infinite love that resides within us all. With that being said, if you are interested in learning more about this and my personal favorite new moon ritual ceremony that I do every new moon, make sure you subscribe because that will be in my next video on how to use the new moon to manifest and astrological witchcraft around the moon. Otherwise, like, subscribe. I do offer private astrology readings and astro mentoring, lots of things below in the description, everything's there. Do all the things, and I will see you in the next video.